That intro literally took 10 minutes to record. Anyway, let's get into it. So when I was 13, I made this really scrolling shooter game that we were forced to make in our IT lesson. It's on the screen right now, you can have a look how it is. Basically, I am going to be taking this game that sucks and making it suck less, but still kind of suck. And I've just realized that I've said suck at least 5 times in this video probably. Anyway, I saw this video by CGEEK, links in the description below, also on the screen right now. Look at them, pretty cool guy. He did this with Blender, go check it out, it was actually really awesome. So the inspiration goes to him. Anyway, without further ado, let's begin. Has it worked? Clicky transition, come on, get working, come on. Ah! So as always, I made a Unity project, then waited about an hour for it to load because it's always so freaking slow. Just hurry up, Unity, hurry up. Slapped my keyboard a couple times and now we're here. So now we have this rectangle that's actually the spaceship, so just use your imagination and do not comment down below that it doesn't look like a spaceship because it does in my eyes. But you can use WASD to move around all the arrow keys because I decided to make it versatile to whatever you want to use, because there's some freaks out there that use the arrow keys. I also created a really basic particle system using Unity's particle system as per usual because it's actually pretty cool, so yeah, you should test it out because I've been playing around with it for hours and I love it. And here is the movement code for my player, or like spaceship, or whatever you call it, rectangle, I don't really care. Here it is, I know you guys won't care about it, but for those who actually do want to use it, it's on the screen right now. Pretty epic, pretty easy, so yeah, skedaddle skedoodle, let's go on to the next thing, yeah. Okay, so it's been at least 5 hours because I was lazy and couldn't be asked to work on this game. Either way, I needed to add some shooty stuff, so I added it, and now your ship can go pew pew, and that's basically it. On the screen right now, you can also see the scripts that I did for this. It was very simple, just needed a bullet prefab, also needed a fire point that is attached to the player. I also needed to modify the player controller so that it now can detect input, which is the spacebar, and if that does happen, then the bullet gets instantiated. Also, finally, I needed some bullet script that basically made the bullet go up the map, and then when it's out the map it gets destroyed so we don't lose any memory because, you know, memory leaks aren't very good or anything. Either way guys, it's on the screen right now. If you want to use it, go ahead and feel free to do whatever you want with it, it's pretty cool. Okay, so the next step for this game was to create some enemies. So obviously we have the pew guns, but at the moment they're kind of useless because you don't really do anything with them, so we need some enemies. So what I did is I created a triangle sprite, and this is going to be my enemy for the meantime. I also created an enemy spawner script. Now this script will control the enemy spawning, so they will spawn every few seconds, and this will basically increase the further and further you progress. So it's a very simple kind of code which is on the screen right now as well. I also created the enemy as a prefab so that it can be spawned multiple different times. Here on the screen you can see the spawning. Now I might adjust this later on, but for now it will do fine because it works. So it's now the next day and we've got to keep working on this game. So what I decided to do is the enemies, I decided to add some pew guns to them because, you know, guns are cool and all in games, not in real life. Don't actually use guns in real life, not a good idea. Either way, I added some guns. You can see on the screen right now you have some, you know, enemies and they'll shoot a bullet. It's kind of bad at the moment. Also, the bullet will be shot towards the player. And here is the script on the screen right now. Pretty simple, pretty easy. Also, if you would like a tutorial on this, I can go ahead and make you one because it's actually really simple and not that complicated at all. Either way, the enemies can now shoot towards the player, so it makes the game more dynamic and all. Let's go on to adding some more features into the game, yeah. Woo! What am I doing with my life? Okay, so the next thing that I decided to work on was some explosion particles. So I needed these particles so when the player collides with the enemy or the bullet collides with the enemy, some explosions would occur, right? So I basically just used the Unity particle system to create this. It was really simple and actually just made my life a lot easier because that means I don't have to create any animations and I don't have to draw them. Either way, you can see the kind of explosion on the screen right now. Pretty cool, pretty epic. Now we need to set up some collisions. So this is really simple. I basically just added some rigid bodies to all of the objects, such as the player, enemy, and both the bullets. I also set the gravity factor on the rigid bodies to 0 because we're in space. There is no gravity, we don't need gravity in our game. Either way, I also added some colliders. So these include like a box collider, a circle collider, depending on what sort of sprite it was. So for example, the triangle has a polygon collider because it's a polygon, and such as that. Also, both of the bullets have their colliders on as a trigger, and that's basically it. Then I decided to set up some collisions in the actual code, so basically when two things collide, then stuff will occur. But for this to work, I needed to add custom tags to all of the objects, so basically I created 4 different custom tags. The player tag, the enemy tag, the player bullet tag, and the enemy bullet tag. So I added them all onto there, which means that my script can now work. On the screen right now, you can also see the collision scripts that I have. I basically just did an on trigger enter 2D to check if they have been collided. And then within that, I checked if it collided with the right tag. And if so, then what will happen is the explosion will spawn and the enemy will be destroyed. Also, this is the code for the explosion spawning. It's pretty simple, it's just an instantiation of the object. Pretty cool. Let me show you what it looks like though. So on the screen right now you can see what it looks like. It looks pretty cool, it's pretty simple, but it adds some more dynamics into the game. So let's go ahead and move on to the next thing. Okay, so I basically added some UI, so now you can see the score display, the lives display, so I added those things in, so the player now has 3 lives. I also changed the game over a little bit, so this time the player won't die immediately, he will only die if he's out of his lives. I also added a play button, so you can press play before the game starts, so you know, you don't load into the gameplay straight away. I also created a game manager that will manage whether it's the opening scene, the game over scene, or the gameplay. The majority of this was done via the canvas where I added some text, some buttons and stuff like that. I'm not going to go into it, but here is the game manager script if you want to go ahead and use it. Basically, I'm not going to be explaining it because it's very, very simple. Let's go on to the next thing. Okay, so it's been more time and I've added more things. So first of all, I added some scrolling background to the game. This was really important because it's a scrolling shooter. Even my previous Game Maker version 1, which was really bad, had a scrolling like background, so I needed to add that. So for starters, I made a sprite for the start. It's just a literal square. I added a script to it that would basically make it go down the map, so it'll scroll down and it'll create more the second it scrolls down and more, and such as that. It's on the screen right now, you can go ahead and read through it if you want. It also changes the colour of the star, and it's a random colour, so that makes it more unique and diverse and whatnot, and makes it just more interesting, I guess. I also added some planets, and they will slowly, dynamically go down the screen as well. The speed is like dependent, so it's random, so that it doesn't look the same every single time, if that makes sense. Anyway, sometimes you'll play it and it won't move because it's static for a bit, but then it'll start moving later on, so it just depends. I also decided to add a timer, so you know how long you've been playing for. I didn't add any high scores or anything, but I will do that later. I also changed some of the sprites here and there, so they look a bit better. Overall though, I think, generally speaking, it's a lot better than the previous one. First of all, it looks a lot nicer, even though the sprites are terrible and they're basic shapes. I think it still looks a lot better than the previous one. The previous one was just janky with the sprites and everything, so I didn't really like the way the other one looked. It also, I think, fits better, so you're no longer in an airplane, you're in space, so that's pretty cool. Change of scenery and whatnot, you know, kind of changing the game, so something different. And also the feeling is a lot better. The other one was really janky and didn't kind of move as well as this one does. This one moves a lot better, so that's another good thing that I added to this game, I guess. Also, the ability of a timer. So the timer thing is also a new thing, and I think it's a positive. By the way, it's on the screen right now if you want to see how I did the timer. Very simple. It didn't take much time. Also, there's some more code in the game manager which kind of starts it when the game starts. Pretty simple, but if you want, I can make a tutorial on this whole series, because the scrolling shooter's pretty cool. Pretty, you know, nice to play around, really smooth and easy to make, so anyone could be able to make it. Anyway, I generally speaking think it's a lot better. I also, the ability of particles, that also makes it 10 times juicier, I guess, and nicer, because we love those particles, don't we? It also just feels nice when, you know, some particles explode and it's not a static animation and it's kind of different every single time. So that was basically it. My game that I remade 5 years from today. Now obviously I can make this 10 times better, you know, I can make awesome sprites, I can add more stuff to it, but I don't really have time because it's my sister's birthday today and I don't really want to waste time making this really shitty game that I'm never going to use. So that's basically it. I think I've succeeded in making it better, and if you have any old projects, I recommend you go ahead and remake them now as well. Even if this project's only from a year ago, I think you can definitely improve it by a lot. Either way guys, if you would like a tutorial on how to make the scrolling shooter, I can go ahead and make a tutorial for this because it's actually really easy and it has many cool stuff in it and I think you guys would like it. So there'll be a poll in the top there, somewhere there, probably somewhere there. You can go ahead and answer the poll if you would like this tutorial series, because there'll probably be a couple episodes because there's, you know, multiple things I did here and there. Either way guys, if you like this video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe and comment down below if you enjoyed the video or what you liked about it, I don't know. I appreciate your guys' support. Also, we reached 4,000 subscribers and I'm not going to be doing a subscriber special for that because many people said that I shouldn't because I just I can't speak. I just literally did a 3,000 subscriber special, but I will do one on 5k if we ever reach that, and it'll be something very different and very special. So thank you guys for watching, thank you for 4,000 subscribers, and thank you for everything that you guys do for me. I love you all so much. Bye bye!